It's time to jump into the luxury imports of Bowling Green, BMW, Mercedes, Sports Webb, with your host Brian Webb on ESPN Radio 102.7. Starring Vegas Frank with Against the Odds, brought to you by JBK Network Consulting. Bowling Green Fireplace and Grill presents WKU Lady Toppers golf coach and PGA teaching professional Adam Gary in Gary on the Green. The Good Fit with Jeremy Harris. Sports Webb baseball analyst Danny Hartung from First Step Orthotics. WKU Sports Analysis with Garret Browning, featuring the Culver's Player of the Week for high school athletics. And also brought to you in part by GC Cuts Gentleman's Choice Spa Salon. All phone interviews via the Linex of Bowling Green hotline. And now from ESPN Radio 102.7, here's your host, Brian Webb.
Welcome to the Sports Web. Brian Webb here. We are happy and glad, and we're going to drop some bombs like Vlad, Danny Hartung in the studio, Garret Browning, and we are joined by the one and only Jason. What's your last name? Harbison? No, I know what it is. Redlegs Radio Report.
Come on, man.
What's up, Danny? I know we're going to go into depth on this home run derby.
I'm doing well. How about y'all?
We're doing good, man. I know you're doing good. You got a new ride.
Brother, man. It's all right. I know you. The Cincinnati.
He's
dude,
so good looking.
I got a bone.
He's a very handsome man.
I got a bone to pick with Spectrum. I was trying to sign into my account last night to watch the home run derby.
Gee, you're the only one that had a problem seeing it.
And I had to watch it live preview on the ESPN app with bold letters across the video.
Dude, I had to stream it myself because I was in a place where I couldn't watch it either as well. But
I did catch it.
It was fun.
We were talking before we went on the air, Danny. What kind of world do we live in where you hit 90, 91 home runs? I forget how many Vlad got, and he still lost. That's crazy.
Actually, Vlad hit more. But, he hit more than Alonso did from the Mets. But it's a matchup thing, And what Vlad did wrong is he did not get the second. That's where Alonso won it. Is he had to catch this, and Jock Peterson too. I mean, this guy was a maniac. I mean, good Lord. I mean, that's what happened to that deal. And Alonso had, at one time, 30 seconds left on one and a minute left on the other. I don't know how many more he would have hit, but he played it right and kept his his cool down and chilled out and just enough to win. So,
I can't imagine
$1 million. You know what? It doubled his salary for the year.
Yeah. I can't imagine how sore their shoulders and arms must be after just power swinging 140 times in 4 minutes.
Exactly, dude. It's like going to work out at the gym and then trying to go home and you can't even raise your arms to put it on the steering wheel. I've never felt that before, but that's what they're telling me, and it's just like that is a crazy amount.
I know
of
they
swings.
take a lot of swings in the batting cage, but not power swings like that.
You know what? They warmed up too. That's the crazy thing. They were warming up beforehand, taking knocks off, and then mercy. I would love to have been just throwing those meatballs, just watching them park them out of the ball. 35 miles an hour, just watching them go.
I was waiting for Josh Bell to actually switch sides of the plate at one point and just be like, you know what, this isn't working. Let me hop over to the right hand side, see if I can get a couple out.
He's not as tired as the rest of them though. So. He did well, and that Jock Peterson.
He got a tough first round matchup.
We could go back to Bonds, some of those guys, McGuire. But in your guys' opinion, and your baseball guys, definitely these two to my left are Garret, and I watch it. Garrett's way more baseball guy than me. But best home run derby in history, you think?
I would absolutely say so. I remember watching one with the finals was Wally Joyner against. Boy, I can't remember the other one, but Wally Joyner won with 4.
Yeah.
Because that was the times they had outs. If they didn't hit out of the park, they caught it. And you only had a certain amount of pitches. Yep. So these are timed. I love this time thing. You hit so many so far, you get the extra time. And I love this thing. But you know what? It's gonna wear out. These guys got a couple more days off. They're gonna need it because they took a lot of hacks. They really did.
I'm really, really biased about which one I think is the best one because I saw it in person.
Oh, yeah.
And I brought it up on our show this weekend. And this is so seamless that I'm bringing it up again on this show. I mean, it just seems so seamless that I'm bringing it up. But back in 2015, we were lucky enough to get to go up, Todd and I, for the show and cover the All-Star Game. And we got to see they had if you're familiar with Great American Ballpark, they've got
the bandbox.
Yeah, they've got everybody was just knocking them out of there. But then it was the first year, like you were talking, Danny, about how they got rid of the outs and they went with the time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you hit it over 400 feet, then you got extra 30 seconds, like they did last night.
I think it's a wonderful situation when they do that because the fans love that stuff. And it's fun to watch,
So we were there, and they had an auxiliary press box set up for us, which is basically the batter's eye, which is the big kind of black building in center field. So we were in there. Not a bad view at all. No, it's not. But things are like, they had the TVs going on in there, and I'm not, this is going to sound like I'm complaining, but I'm not. We were in there, and things were kind of happening on a delay a little bit because, you could kind of hear a little bit what was going on with the crowd. So Todd, in his infinite wisdom, decided to, let's go outside by the big smokestacks there. And we actually watched the last couple home runs that Todd Frazier hit. And actually it was against Jock Peterson. Jock Peterson from last night was the one that was giving him a hard way to go. And I still remember, and Todd and I were even texting each other last night, watching Jock Peterson again. I said, I remember us standing out there saying, and I told Todd, I said, there's no way Frazier's gonna beat him because he had to come from behind and do all this basically magic. And I mean, he was just huffing and puffing up there.
He had to hit 4 home runs in 50 seconds.
Yeah, and he did. I'm like, there's no way. And Todd's like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. I'm like, no way. And he did it. And I mean, that's, again, a little biased, but.
Todd Frazier's not real popular these days.
No, not so much.
He's the king of unwritten rules in baseball by just looking at him.
Just ask Arrieta. That deal the other day where the Phillies and Mets hate each other, but they.
I never knew Jake Arrieta was such a tough guy that.
Dude, would you mess with him? He's 6'5", man. He's huge.
Bald guys are weak. That's what I always say.
Thank you.
and speaking of what world we're living in, Vladimir Jr. didn't even start in the majors this year because of, basically trying to get, his arbitration time and everything.
It was 8 weeks.
Yeah.
8 weeks. He didn't start till mid-May.
Yeah.
So,
And he was an 8 seed. Essentially, they go by seeds by the numbers of home runs they have in the home run derby. He was an 8 seed going
29 his first time.
You guys are much
sick.
You guys are much longer baseball fans than I have been. I've recently just gotten into the game the last couple of years. But one thing that always confused me was how patient some teams were with these youngsters. And now all of a sudden, Vlad Guerrero, Biggio, Brendan McKay, Brandon Lowe, all these guys are making huge differences on their team almost immediately. Do you think it's more incentive for these younger guys to start maybe coming up a little faster?
They capture these. The way that I'd love to have them come up at the beginning of the year but they won't. The teams will not brag them up till the 6th or 7th week because they can capture them for an extra year on that during the arbitration deal. Same way with Vlad. Same way they did with Chris Bryant from Chicago. And the fans saying, "Oh, bring this guy, bring this guy." No, they won't do it because they get an extra year before they have to hit arbitration.
Oh, okay.
That's why they're not breaking them right.
Well, that makes 100% sense.
That's the main gist of the whole thing. I mean, what's Toronto would have to lose to bring them up at the very beginning of the year? Nothing. Because, they're going to still finish 4th in that thing. But, no, they get to keep him for an extra year and have, rights to him when they want to trade him or extend his contract. But, like I said, Alonso made double of what he makes this year just winning that thing.
Which is crazy. And Nick Senzel's another guy from the Reds that they brought up late, too.
Senzel.
And everybody's like, what the heck? Why did you wait so long? And it's because small market teams, like Danny said, they're going to get an extra year out of that. I mean, if you're the Yankees or, I don't know, San Francisco, one of those bigger teams like that, what's a couple more months of arbitration? But for small market teams like the Reds, Toronto, Tampa, I mean, they're all...
Especially small market teams.
Yeah, exactly. And here, what else is crazy to your point, Garrett? 31 first-time All-Stars for tonight's game.
Sick.
Which is crazy. Which just goes to show you that the young kind of spirit that baseball has right now.
You're listening to the Sports Web right now. We're talking with Jason Harbison, Redlegs radio reporter. Catch them Saturdays at 9 a.m. Guys, I mean, I want to add something to what Garrett alluded to there. I think they're even, and I noticed this with my own nephew and some other, these scouts, they're hitting these kids at 15, 16 years old. I think the Yankees have already kind of locked in a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
I saw something about that earlier today. I mean, do you guys not see that? I mean, they are really digging down.
Well, actually, a local story here, and I know it's not a big story yet, but Devin Obie, who was on the Little League World Series team in BG, I think he's traveling down in Florida right now with a U16 USA team.
Yeah, they go with that IMG deal down there, and they pick these kids right out of they're 14, 15.
Yeah, he's already a Duke. I don't know if he's a signee because he might be too young, but he's a Duke commit in baseball. And I remember back when I was in high school, there was a scout that came to watch Necarius Fant just hit in the batting cage when he was like a freshman. Wow. And he hadn't played baseball in like a year. That's how crazy loyal these guys are when it comes to scouting the youth.
Well, it really does. I mean, the days of the three, not yours, Garrett, but the three of us on this side of the console, the days of sandlot baseball are long gone, where just a bunch of guys going out in the neighborhood and hitting baseballs. Now you got to be on a travel team, and now you've got like the 7th graders playing on the senior high team, So, I mean, it's just a different world.
Yeah, there's plenty of 8th grade kids going up and playing high school baseball anymore. I mean, they're at least working out with them.
I mean,
you know what?
Isn't there a guy at Greenwood right now that's going through a bunch of trials? Cade Bennett or something? Oh man, I forgot his name off the top of my head. Cade Thornton. Yeah, that is it.
That's my nephew.
I've seen him a couple of times on Twitter with the swing, man.
Son.
Hey, I bet that man's getting caught.
Listen, I don't know. He just all of a sudden just
get close
evolved.
To him.
I mean, I'm standing like, hey, buddy, remember I'm your uncle. I mean, he's a big Braves fan, too, so if that ever comes up to it, that's where he'd like to go. I'd like to see him with Cincinnati
Tell
Red
him I want
myself.
to go into sports management as well. So.
Yes, I'll be sending him over there to you for sure. I had something else I was going to bring up, but I forgot what it was. We're going to dig in and just stay with some baseball here. Do we need to take a break, Garrett, real quick? We're going to take a quick one. Don't go anywhere. Obviously, you don't want to miss this excitement on the Sports Webb ESPN 102.7.
If your business needs to cool, chill, or freeze, or warm, heat, or cook, you know you can't afford to disappoint. That's why you call BG Refrigeration, because BG Refrigeration never disappoints. They satisfy any heating or cooling need your business may have. Factories, restaurants, malls, plants, big industrial warehouses, doesn't matter. BG Refrigeration is who you call. Commercial heating and ducts, AC maintenance and replacement, commercial refrigeration, restaurant equipment, cold storage warehouses. BG Refrigeration ensures your heating and cooling needs are met so your business doesn't suffer. Walk-in freezers, exhaust systems, pizza ovens, ice makers, whatever heats or cools. If it's restaurant related, BG Refrigeration is, by far, the best company in South Central Kentucky to service them. In fact, there are few companies that can or will even try to do what BG Refrigeration does every day. They're the company that's called in for the big jobs that require more experience, that need to be done right the first time. Why would you trust your business's commercial heating and cooling needs to anyone else? Turn to the experts. Call BG Refrigeration at 270-782-5391, where your comfort is their concern.
Culver's wouldn't be what it is today without the family farms that grow and produce the wholesome, delicious food we so proudly serve. From the cattle ranches of the Great Plains to the dairy farms of Wisconsin and south to Georgia's chicken country, it's important to us to make sure farm families across the nation clearly see how Culver's remains committed to sourcing the finest ingredients America's growers have to offer and how thankful we are for their hard work and dedication. Culver's, Scottsville Road in front of Greenwood High. Welcome to Delicious.
Luxury Imports of Bowling Green is Southern Kentucky's home for the all-new BMW 3 Series. Unmistakable design meets German precision and cutting-edge technology, leaving all competition behind. Or find exceptional savings on all 2015, 2016, and 2017 certified pre-owned BMWs with 1.99% APR for 48 months, or with lowered leases on select 2019 Mercedes C-Class, E-Class, and G-Class models. Luxury Imports of Bowling Green, 325 Three Springs Road.
Welcome back. Talking Major League Baseball right here on the eve. All-Star Game tonight coming at you right here on 102.7. You can tune in, catch all the action while you're putting a tire on in the garage or working on that rod and reel, whatever you got. Garret Browning, Brian Webb, The Limb, Danny Hartung, and our special guest who tonight brought to you by Culver's Butterburgers, Scottsville Road. I'm going to take Jason Harbison in there and get him a number 4. Oh no, you know what? I might get you the North Atlantic cod. That's my favorite, but I don't know. It's the best.
It's health conscious.
Get ready to have Katie Gardner's new Player of the Year, Culver's plaque going up. Pretty exciting there. Kentucky Miss Softball.
If I'm going Culver's, I get a Butterburger and the cod.
Yeah,
very nice.
I like it,
Very nice.
That's heavy duty, brother.
I was in there over the
Don't
break,
doubt me.
and this is going to sound like a commercial, but they've really redone that place up there. Really nice. It's
really
very,
good,
very, very nice. In there, of course, they've got the Brian Webb wing still. With all with all of the plaques and everything up there. So if you ever want to go in there and see the Brian Webb wing, I'm sure they'll give tours of that.
Tours.
Or Brian will just be there to give the tour.
I'm there a lot. You can almost catch me there about any time. Although the day I did hit Buffalo Wild Wings.
You should be proud, brother. That's all.
I am proud, man. I am proud. And Pap's Beef Jerky, they're a sponsor of Smokies Outdoors. That's something that's happened here of late. But I want to tell everybody, I'm out there on the Titans Trail tonight. Limited spots to sponsor the broadcast right there on 105.3 The Point. First Step Prosthetics, Orthotics, big sponsor of the Titans and of the Sports Web, the Limb.
Hey, you don't want to miss out when they're in the playoffs either.
Playoffs?
Plus he's all garbed out in the old Titan gear tonight, so that's all good.
Which looks great for radio, by the way. I'm wearing red stuff. He's got the Titans.
That's a
thing
game
on.
jersey.
Me and Danny knew how to dress for radio.
Damn right, man. I'm a comfort guy. I shouldn't even wear a shirt.
It always looks good, too.
You got your Rays hat on, though, Garrett. I mean,
Hey, your gear is on the way, brother, too, by the way. So.
Speaking of, I mean, if you guys don't have a topic crushing you in your brain, I've got one. I pulled off the power rankings. Here we are in the midst of the All-Star break. These I pulled off the top 6. We could go deeper, but 6 being your Tampa Bay Devil Rays, Garrett, 52-39. You got the Twins there, 56-33. The Braves, 54-37. I don't know that I remember this many bottlenecks of massive seasons going on at the same time. I don't follow it like you guys do, but it seems to me. And then you close it out with the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Astros. I mean, the competition is just insane.
Well, the Yankees just almost absolutely raked the Rays over 4th of July weekend. They barely saved the series with 2 late games on, I think it was a Friday, Saturday to be exact. But
Snell and Morton pitched really well in those 2. I mean, they salvaged 2 out of 4. But yeah, to me, I mean, I think there's posers and there's absolute winners. Houston, I believe, is going to run away with the West. Although, Oakland's playing well, but they're still – and Oakland play as well as they can, but they're still 7.5 games up, and they went through a slump. NL Central's the toss-up here out of all of them.
Easily.
When you're 4.5 out with Cincinnati, they're playing great baseball. But I think, to me – lately, the Cubs look mediocre. Milwaukee looks mediocre. Pittsburgh's a spoiler. And Cincinnati's coming out. And St. Louis, to me, is done. I don't care what anyone says. They're done. Their pitching's going down dropping like flies. The NL East.
Going down like Frazier.
They are. NL East, I think it's a two-man race. Washington's really, really come on. They've went 27-13 in their last 40 games. Wow. And when they were lost for dead back in May, they're really coming on well. Scherzer, Strasburg, Corbin, they're all pitching well. And, they're trying to catch Atlanta, which I really believe they will. And Philly, it's going to be hard to see what they do. Aaron Nola's pitching well. Arrieta's not. Their 3rd and 4th guy just... I'd love to see that team win, but I think it's going to be between Washington and Atlanta, to tell you the truth. But the Mets to me, are dead. So, and then Los Angeles is going to run away with that thing. So, because they're the best team, I think, in the whole NL and AL right now. I think if I put my bet on anybody right now to win the World Series, it would be the Los Angeles Dodgers right now. So.
Yeah, I agree with you that LA is just so tough right now. Atlanta, as you were saying, Danny, is just crazy to me too. I think they're probably going to end up running away with the East.
I hope so.
But back to what you were saying about the NL Central, stat that I saw this weekend that I said on the air, which was really crazy to me. The Reds, who are in dead last place, they're now 4.5 games. At the time, they were like 3 games out. 4.5 games out, they are still closer than any other team in any other division, whether it's the AL or NL, to the second place team of the first place team of that same division. Meaning they're closer in last place than, like, say, whoever the second place team is in the AL Central, whoever the second place team is in the NL, which is just crazy to me. That's how tight it is.
Plus runs gained. They're 38 runs above, like the Mets or Philly even. They're 38 games or 38 runs ahead of them. They're always in there for every game, whether it's a blown save, but they really haven't done it. They've been pitching well. They've been hitting well. Yeah. And did you watch the other day when they came out with the sleeveless?
I was just about to bring that up. Thank you.
They brought out the gun show, baby. The sun's out, the gun's out, baby. It was cool.
What was an homage to the big Klazuski? Ted Klazuski back in the day, who used to wear those the sleeveless jerseys all the time, and a bunch of them were saying, "Yeah, let's do this." The whole "sun's out, guns out." But what's funny is I can remember growing up as a kid, my dad always talking about Kluszewski being a huge guy. He isn't even as big as, like, half as big.
Oh,
Puig is like, would
just a
dwarf
maniac.
him.
Yeah, exactly.
But back then that was considered big.
I was gonna say the sleeveless idea was great until all those like random drug test officials were looking at Derek Dietrich's arms and Yasiel Puig's arms.
Yeah, everything's great until the random drug test
on his arms.
I said, "All right,
that guy's ripped, dude."
Oh my gosh,
Dietrich's ripped.
He was a former hot rod too. Started here in Bowling Green.
Yeah, 2011. That's funny you say that because I took a picture. I was down there at the game this weekend. They've got that kind of wall at hot rods of like guys that have made it in the majors. He's like the second one, I think, behind Moore that ever made it to the big show, so to speak. So.
Yeah, Matt Moore. I was big on the Matt Moore train, and then he kind of fell apart there for a second.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right.
They all come and go, brother.
It's so hard to tell, though, especially at this level, if anybody's ever going to make it. At that point, I mean, I'm kind of like you. I went out and I bought a Tim Beckman jersey when they had like the first year.
Is he still in Seattle, or is he gone from Seattle now?
I'm not even sure.
I think he may be out of the majors.
He was
now.
with the Orioles for a while, and they traded him, I think, at the last trade deadline. But I got his jersey in one of those auctions the first year the Hot Rods were in existence back in 2009, thinking, yeah, this is going to be like, yeah, I got this jersey, So, but you really, it's really. It's just a crapshoot, really. You never know at that.
I mean, I guess you could hit 350 in single A, but it doesn't really matter once you get up to triple A or whatever.
We got a few more minutes left here on this break, but I wanted to, first of all, before you leave, Harbison, I want you to give me your snapshot of what we're going to see after the All-Star break for the Reds. And then I'd like for all of you guys to kind of cue in on who the pretenders and the contenders are, maybe out of that top 10 power ranking. But who's going to be there at the end, Danny? Who's not going to be there? I mean, who looks good now but may not look good later? It's kind of like, sometimes when you take a gal out, she looks good later.
Until you drink more. I was looking at this. I actually think Cleveland in the AL Central is going to come back on the Twins. I like the Twins, but I wouldn't put them as fourth right now. I'd put the Braves ahead of them as far as that goes. Tampa Bay's not going anywhere. If we get Glasnow back there, and Charlie Morton's just throwing BBs right now. But the top three with the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Astros look just right on. And then the Braves, for me, fourth. And then the Rays, fifth to me. And then put the Minnesota Twins in there. That's the way I look at it. I think Cleveland's really playing good baseball, and I think they're going to come back. They're too talented not to. It's too bad what happened to Carlos Carrasco. He came down with leukemia, for crying out loud. But you know what? He says he'll be back by the end of July. Awesome. Godspeed. I hope he does.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Prayers.
To answer your question about the Reds, I think the second half, it's going to really come down to what they do in the next couple of weeks, because they've got this tough schedule ahead of them. They're playing Colorado, then they play St. Louis, and with so many games against their central foes, so to speak, that come trade deadline time, and this year, Danny,
are they going to spend some money?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Do they spend money? What do they do? Because they don't have the non-waiver trade deadline this year. There's only one trade deadline, so it's pretty much one and done.
July 31st. They got I always had to say, if you want to spend it to get it, you have to do that. But I don't know what they need. I don't know what they really need. They need actually a left-handed pitcher, and they need a batter from the left side. But Atlanta needs to spend some money if they're going to be anywhere near wanted to win anything to beat the Dodgers. They're going to have to get another arm, and they're needed a left-handed batter. That's exactly what all that Atlanta needs, and I think they could go a long way.
Atlanta, I mean, they've really got a deep pitching staff for somebody that most people don't really talk much about their pitching staff like they do the Reds. So it's just amazing to me that I think that they can go on a long run. But LA I think is just so stinking tough.
Yeah, with Fried and Soroka out of Atlanta, those guys are studs, and no one ever talks about them. They're fabulous pitchers, but the back end of that a little shaky. But they need a left-handed arm.
So if LA's the best team in baseball, which we all know means they'll probably choke again in the World Series, who is that AL team? Who would that AL team be, you guys think?
I think it's got to be Houston. I mean, even with some of their injuries that they've got. Look at the All-Star game tonight. I mean, they've got, 4 or 5 guys in there?
Yeah,
They've probably got the most
I
represented.
agree with Houston because I just think the pitching's so much better than they are the Yankees.
Yeah, and one of their All-Stars isn't even the second baseman, which I can't remember his name, the short guy.
Altuve.
Yeah, he's not even in it.
Yeah, he's hurt. He's been hurt.
Guys, thanks for hanging out tonight. Jason, it's been a great pleasure. We got Vegas Frank coming up after the break. Gary on the green is going to tell us a little bit how to place that ball on the green and make that putt, Danny. Are you a linear guy or not? Do you use the line on your ball or?
I don't even line it.
So you just throw it down. Well, let's let Gary explain this because I don't want to get I don't want to misinform. So we're gonna see how I think I'm a linear guy. I use a line. We'll see what Gary says. Stick around, but don't miss the All-Star Game right after the Sports Webb pregame starts at 6. Top of the hour. Be right back. Vegas Frank, Danny.
We're out.
Being in the Army National Guard is about more than just serving your country. It's about being there for your community when your neighbors need you most. The Army National Guard makes college affordable. Serving part-time lets you attend school full-time while you take advantage of education benefits that can help you graduate debt-free. If a civilian career is your goal, serving part-time allows you to work at a full-time job. The skills, qualities, and contacts you'll develop in the Guard can open doors to a great civilian career. Want to serve but worried about being away from friends and family? Part-time service in the Army National Guard allows you to serve close to home. Serving in the Army National Guard lets you have the life you want while you enjoy the many benefits of serving your community and nation. You owe it to yourself to learn more about how the Army National Guard can fit into your life. Visit NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Kentucky Army National Guard. Aired by the Kentucky Broadcasters Association and this station.
JBK Network Consulting and Cisco Systems have long been partners in Hilltopper Country. We have served South Central Kentucky since 1992 and now serve customers throughout the Commonwealth and in 19 states. With the power of Cisco Systems, JBK Network Consulting offers a complete lineup of voice-over IP, wireless indoor and outdoor, and digital signage for both information and entertainment sales and services. Looking to expand or just want to start on rock-solid ground? Conveniently located in Bowling Green, JBK Network Consulting, where we are IP everything.
Man, what happened to your truck?
Well, got myself a prize 10-point buck, and well, you can see where it was laying.
Nice bloodstain, dude. You should have seen Linex of Bowling Green for a spray-in liner.
For whatever you get into, trust Linex of Bowling Green with the largest auto aftermarket franchise in the nation. Pro installation of spray and bed liners, B&W gooseneck hitches, vent visors, bug shields, step bars, running boards, toolboxes, and WeatherTech floor mats. LineXofBowlingGreen.com. Stop by 3351 Louisville Road at the Porter Pike and Plum Spring intersection.
Hello, Vegas. Give me $100 on red.
Go! $200 in chips, please.
Are you a professional?
What's your bet, sir? Bet. Hit me.
It's a bust.
Whoa! I am on fire.
Oh, he's good. He's good.
You're a winner!
Against the Odds with Vegas Frank is brought to you by JBK Network Consulting. JBK Network Consulting. We are IP everything. Working with complex organizations to achieve measurable business outcomes is what we do. Let Jim Grant and JBK Network Consulting go to work for you. Call 270-796-8935. Visit JBK Network Consulting at 1143 Fairway Place, Suite 105, and online at jbk.net.
You heard it right there, folks. Big time on the Sports Web. I tell you, we've done it so much, it never gets old. It's never duplicated, often imitated. Against the Odds with Vegas Frank on the Linex of Bowling Green hotline, Porter Pike, over there on Louisville Road. Get over there and see Roger and Gina. What's up, Frank?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, man, if I was any better, I'd have to bottle it up and sell it.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
You like?
I like.
Man, listen, lots going on. I mean, I guess we could, first of all, we chatted with Danny earlier and the guys about the home run derby, which got the All-Star Game coming up tonight. A lot of rookies in this one. We won't spend much time on that, Frank. Let's move on to some NBA because, I mean, the board is lighting up. Things are being done, and Kawhi kind of started that craziness, didn't he?
Well, yeah, Kawhi kind of put a capper on it. I mean, he sort of reset the whole NBA universe essentially by creating the Clippers as a go-to destination, I guess. It was Saturday night, a little bit later Saturday night, really wasn't paying attention. I thought it was something that came through on the Twitter that was a rumor or something saying about Kawhi to the Clippers, when earlier in the day, everyone had been talking about, all the experts have been talking about, I say that with air quotes, that Kawhi was going to be going to either the Lakers or he was going back to the Raptors, and then they had heard the Saturday afternoon that it was a really strong chance that he was going back to the Raptors no matter what the Lakers' pitch was. We didn't think the Clippers were involved in this, and it seemed that like in almost the 11th hour, that he had negotiated saying, I'm going to come to L.A. to the Clippers, but I need you to get Paul George, Ballmer, that team there, Jerry West. They were able to work out some deals, and I guess they sent, the equivalent of like 5 first-round picks, an option to switch a couple picks around, something like that, to the Thunder to acquire Paul George. Then Kawhi signed. So we've got a sort of like a super team with the Clippers, because you're adding Mo Harkless in free agency. You didn't lose Lou Williams or Pat Beverly or Harrell. I mean, this is a team now that is going to contend. I'd say that they're probably the favorite to win the championship. I can't believe I just said that. The Los Angeles Clippers are the favorite to win the NBA championship now.
Hurry, read all about it. That's a tough one to understand, but I mean, we're looking at it in a way that LeBron comes to L.A., to do these things. And I don't think it's played out quite like the King James wanted it to. Do you?
No, not really. And another issue for them has been being able to clear up enough cap space, the people that they put around him. Last year, the roster was like, you kept looking around and you go, that guy's here, this guy's here. It was like Team Knucklehead that was around him. You had all these guys with these questionable, behavioral backgrounds, whatever. And now you've got some, more solid, I'd say, more team-savvy type of veterans around him. Obviously, Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis and LeBron is an incredible 1-2 punch. And they didn't lose Kuzma, which is big because Kuzma is a developing star with this Lakers team. But, I don't think LeBron really saw it coming, going this way. I think that he would have had a little bit more. He probably thought he would have had a little more influence in being able to attract more free agents to sign with the Lakers.
What I don't understand, Frank, is you've got to. He had an opportunity there at one time, and then the Magic stuff went down, and then that kind of. I'm sure that left ripples in the organization, in the front office, but. And I'm not saying he's done a terrible job. I love LeBron. But, it's one of those things. Anthony Davis, that situation's really good. But I still don't think he's got enough team to even handle the crosstown Clippers.
Yeah, across the hallway. They share a building. Exactly,
they do.
They don't have the perimeter defense is going to be an issue. They've got to add, they're not really going to add much scoring. But, the one thing I will say to their credit is that LeBron now, it sounds like, will be running point, and Anthony Davis is obviously going to be a space filler. It's going to open up lanes for guys like Danny Green. Quinn Cook, who, by the way, former Warrior, grew up a Laker fan. I saw a picture on his IG of the dozens of Laker jerseys this guy's got. Yeah, he's a huge Laker fan, so that's a big deal for him.
Great shooter. They'll need him on the Lakers aren't going to be bad. I just don't know if they can. I don't think they're going to be able to beat the Clippers like you were saying. Let's move it on, man. Westbrook, I think, headed to Miami.
Yeah, it sounds like that's what's going to happen. As soon as this thing went down on Saturday, one of the scenarios prior to Paul George being traded to a potential package of Paul George and Westbrook being traded to Toronto, and in return, Toronto was going to send Pascal Siakam and some other pieces and draft picks. I guess to put a big three in place in Toronto, so they would keep Kawhi there with Paul George and with Westbrook. And the deal fell apart. Now Westbrook knows that he was being mentioned in trade talk. The guy just signed an extension. They've got to make the money work if he's going to go to Miami. They've got to get a third team involved. If he's going to be moved to Miami, they're going to have to get a third team involved.
Who would it be, Frank?
Maybe a team like Dallas, maybe a team like Houston, but Houston would love to add Westbrook.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say Houston.
So it's possible. You've got to look at a team that's got assets that they're ready to move and to dump. And right now, because the way that the league is set up with Summer League and everything going on right now, so many players are sort of auditioning with Summer League, so you don't have set rosters. It's sort of hard right now. That's why those 6-7 days of when free agency starts are so important to now pull off a trade. It's sort of like you were doing it backwards. You have to do the trade right around draft time, and then you have until the first 5 or 6 days of free agency. Now everything's sort of settled, and, Kawhi signed later in free agency, so it kind of affects how anybody can be moved. So you've got to get a third team involved if you're going to move Westbrook.
Yeah, that's a very valid point, and I hadn't even thought of that scenario. That's smart. Listening to Vegas, Frank, it's called Against the Odds, and it's every Tuesday here on the Sports Web. I've been doing it for a long time. Frank, I wanted to say, brought to you by JBK Network Consulting. I want to talk, since we're on basketball, getting ready to talk some UFC, maybe some NFL, but real quick, I wanted to bring up, we hired a couple guys, I think, actually, but this guy kind of stands out to me because he was the head coach at Troy, like the last 6 seasons, I think. He's been there up until this last year, but Phil Cunningham, man, looking forward to that. Great hire as an assistant coach. He's got a lot of Division I experience, and he actually worked with Coach Stansbury back in Mississippi State, and was also a WKU assistant back in 2012-2013 season, which is very, very cool. Stansbury is very thankful to have those guys, and we are too, because it's going to be one heck of a season. But Cunningham, he's 52 years old, led Troy to their first Sun Belt tournament championship where we used to live, the old Sun Belt. I miss it sometimes. In 2017, the program's second NCAA tournament appearance, including the first in 14 years. So we're getting a guy who can really do it as a head coach. So, Stansbury has another surgery, and he's out, and we got to wait on the stool. We got Cunningham there to be the field general. So I'm looking forward to that, man. You got any comments on that guy?
Well, I think it helps to have experience, and it's a guy, too, that coach trusts to have there, obviously to help out while he's going to be laid up a little bit. It's big. And to have the guy who's got experience, you said he's got Division I experience as both an assistant and a head coach. So it can only help them out going forward.
Yeah, hopefully we won't have any more of that mid-season Stansbury loss, but it could happen. So, it's great to have a guy like that. And another thing that's great, in coaching, I believe it's real important for your coaches to have a similar disposition and gel well together, even if they're a little bit different in style. At least they know each other's style so they can feed off that. That's what I think is going to help us down the road here in conference play this year. So looking forward to the Hilltopper basketball and football coming up. We'll have some football news maybe next week coming up here. But Frank, moving on, man. First of all, UFC coming down the line, but before that, Mariota, pretty special year for him, kind of going to have some magnifying glasses on him, right?
Yeah, this year is going to kind of come into focus for him. Fifth year of that rookie contract. They did pick up the fifth-year option, so the $20 million price tag this season for Mariota. He's going to be making $20 million this year. It's no coincidence that this is the end of the contract that they signed Tannehill to kind of push him. I kind of feel because this is that last year he's going to be showing out. I think that this is going to be a special year for Mariota. He's got weapons all around him. Corey Davis, Tywan Taylor. Oh, yeah. Obviously, this past year they drafted A.J. Brown last few months back, and signing Humphreys that have got weapons all around him that can definitely get the ball down the field.
And got some protection,
this
too.
This has got to be it.
He's got some protection.
No, absolutely. And, I mean, they've got everything is kind of lining up for them. You want to stay healthy, get through training camp, stay healthy, start the year off right because they've got, their first 4 games, I mean, they've got some tough matchups early on. I think they play at Atlanta and at Indy.
Oh, yeah. We
I
talked
think
about
in the
that
first
last
4
week.
weeks. And they play Jacksonville, I think, the first 4 weeks, too.
Yeah,
And they open with Cleveland.
Yeah, that game.
They've got a tough schedule to start.
I mean, it is. But you know what, though? If you're going to do it, Mariota's going to have to beat these teams, Frank, and might as well have them at the start of the season opposed to maybe getting beat up middle season and then having to go into that. Their schedule kind of lightens up a little bit. Of course, we don't know at this point because we don't know what's going to happen. In NFL, you never really know until they start playing and they get out there. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to get it done first half of the season. There's no question about it. He goes in there after 5 games and they're 2-3. I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough road.
No, you're absolutely right. It's going to be rough, and you have Tannehill there. I don't think that they would necessarily throw him in, but I mean, you signed the guy for a reason. You're trying to push Mariota ultimately, and this is going to be the year where it's kind of like put up or shut up kind of thing. This is where you've got to show it. So we'll see.
Man, I didn't know this until this morning, but Teddy Bruschi had a stroke. He had some health problems back in his playing career, and 4th of July, I think, must have got the fireworks, must have got to him. No, I just shouldn't joke about it, but man, I hope he's all right, and love the Bruschi. I always liked watching him, and everybody loves Bruschis.
Everybody loves that guy. I think it was on 4th of July. But having some numbness or whatever, but I think he's doing all right now. As a precaution, I mean, he's been in the hospital being monitored and whatever, but I think he's doing a lot better now.
Yeah, it's tough to hear, man. These guys, they're young, they're my age. Frank, before we get to UFC, anything else going on out of the NFL? It's kind of quiet right now, a little bit, but you touched on some great points there for the Titans. I'm wondering who actually. When will we know who really scored in the draft? I know on paper we know, but when will we really know? Mid-season, because some of these guys aren't going to play this year. Some of them are.
Yeah, there's going to be people like, well, just for example, I'm sounding a little biased, but with the Raiders, a lot of the draft picks were reaches. I feel like we're reaches in the first round. We're thinking that Abrams is going to be able to make an immediate impact. Farrell, obviously, was a guy that a lot of people liked. Kind of felt like he went a little too high. But, I mean, if you like the player at the position that you get them at, then you take them. Jacobs, the running from Alabama, the guy never really played. He wasn't an every down type of back at Bama. So, I mean, there's a lot of question marks with regards to that. So, yeah, you don't really evaluate the talent until you're like probably halfway through the season because you want to see how much of an impact they make. But I mean, the biggest thing right now is like in the next 6 weeks is how these guys respond to training camp, how they respond to getting hit and hitting people. And, you want to see them getting through preseason and training camp healthy. You don't want anybody to get banged up, early on in the year.
Oh, you're right, man. Real quick before we get out of here, the Raiders. Antonio Brown, I did something back in April. I didn't know anything about it, but I guess he settled with somebody in an apartment complex or something. Was he throwing stuff off a balcony? What happened there? I didn't know anything about that, and I noticed that you've been tight-lipped on it. So do you know what I'm talking? Have you heard that?
I have not heard about that. I wouldn't be surprised if Antonio Brown was throwing things on the balcony right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I know that, he has a tendency to act up a little bit. And, I'm really not familiar with the story.
Well,
I know that he's had his issues off and on with Big Ben. And it seems like he's made peace, little jaw-jacking back and forth with Juju. So, I mean, yeah, he's obviously vocal.
Man, he is. And, it's really coming out. Now that he's a Raider, I guess he feels like he wears that badge on his chest. You can be a little more rowdy when you're a Raider. But sources, Paul Gutierrez, ESPN staff writer, says, quoted, I think, the prosecuting side here, said Mr. Brown's out-of-control and inaccessible behavior could have killed my son, this Sternberg had said in a statement in October. His reckless tantrum displayed complete disregard for the safety of others who intend to hold Mr. Brown accountable to hopefully ensure that something like this never happens again. I just want to know, was he throwing the mini bar out there? I mean, I don't know. What was he throwing at the kids? I don't get it, man.
Not sure. It was probably not a Nerf football.
It may not. It doesn't sound like it was a Nerf football. Frank, you never disappoint. We're going to put a bow on it here with some UFC news, man. What's up?
Well, over the weekend we saw history being made. Jorge Masvidal knocked out Ben Askren, that big flying knee. 5 seconds. It makes it even that much sweeter. Like all the trash talk and everything afterwards. Masvidal really does not like Ben Askren a lot. So that was really entertaining to watch the press conference and stuff. The UFC never disappoints. But when you get fighters that really dislike each other, it makes it all that much more interesting. And speaking of fighters that don't have a lot of love lost, coming up we'll have Poirier taking on Nurmagomedov in the next few weeks. They seem respectful of each other, but I'm just waiting for something to happen where we get a little talk between them. I'm excited.
It will. It wouldn't be UFC if we didn't have some kind of pre-fight something. You know what I mean?
it's a matter of time.
Takes the fun out of it. Real quick, Frank, I don't know if you remember. I know you do. I was unliked by many, many cab drivers out front there at Morton Steakhouse, and one of them dropped a flying knee on me one night.
They gave you the flying knee.
They gave me the flying knee, man. He missed, but
I'm glad.
And then he spit on me and said, "I'm Russian mafia and I will kill your family." Yeah, he was 86. I don't know.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know. That guy went missing mysteriously a week or two later. Who knows? Frank, always a pleasure, my friend.
Good talking to you.
We'll be back next Tuesday with Vegas Frank against the odds. Don't go away. Sports Webb coming right back. ESPN 102.7.
You're playing golf and you're going to like it.
Time to go home there, Ball. I can make it across. Well, then do it.
We got all of that.
Why didn't you just go home? That's your home. Are you too good for your home? Answer me.
Knock it on. Let her rip.
It's in the hole. By the way, what did Mr. Webb shoot this morning?
It's time for Gary on the Green. Gary on the Green is brought to you by Bowling Green Fireplace and Grill on Old Louisville Road and online at bowlinggreenfireplace.com. Call 270-495-1131.
Welcome back. We're going to close it out with the one and only Adam Gary. Gary on the Green here, brought to you by Bowling Green Fireplace and Grill. I'm getting ready to get me a new green egg. I'm looking forward to that. Matter of fact, I was up at Willow Oaks, Adam, bringing him in, WKU Hilltopper Lady Golf. What's up, man?
Not much. Just enjoying the summer.
Yeah, me too, dude. It's been it's going fast. Is it faster this year?
It is going fast. I can't believe it's already after the 4th of July.
But I was going to tell you, I got to play with the one and only athlete extraordinaire, Joey Stockton, up at Willow Oaks over the weekend, man. Had a blast. Golf cart running good. I got my logo on it. Feeling good about it. Going to look forward to taking some clients up there a lot. It, of course, is looking magnificent. I don't know. Got to see Jim Lee up there practicing with young Lee, who is a future star, I think. She's Abigail there. She does a great job, too. I think you probably gave her a lesson or two, Coach, in your day.
That's right. Yep. I've known Jim since I was little.
Oh yeah.
Coming up out at Indian Hills.
I played against him in high school, if that tells you something. I'm real old. He was a towering man when I was a sophomore. I looked up to him. He was a big guy. Man, I tell you, it looks great. Get up there and check it out. Real quick, though, Tiger, man, is he going to be ready? And then we're going to touch on some Mary Joyner news. Pretty cool stuff in going on there for the Lady Tops. But, I mean, he hadn't played since the Open, Adam. I mean, is he going to be ready?
I mean, Padraig Harrington's kind of giving him a hard time on social media, saying that he's not really taking it seriously if he's not going to play the week before. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be hard to be ready, too, because it's a golf course that they've never hosted the British Open before, so the Open Championship. But I don't know. If it was at St. Andrews or someplace he was really familiar with, I think I'd feel better about it. But since it's a new golf course for everyone, they've only hosted the Open Championship in Ireland twice in the history of the Open Championship. I think the last time it was held there was in like the 50s or something like that. So I really think he probably should have gone over to play, but maybe there's some other issues or something else going on that we don't know about.
Who knows? I mean, I think Tiger kind of just picks his battles. I mean, I think he's got to the point now where he's like, look, you can say what you want. I'm going to do. And the guy could come in and win it. John Rahm, though, finishes up with a 62, won the Irish Open, so he might be prime for a British run here in the British Open. But then you've got that Wolf you were talking about off air, man, eagled the last hole. That guy, what's his story?
I know, yeah, just wins the NCAA tournament. Pretty unorthodox swing if you haven't seen it before, but wins in his fourth start on the PGA Tour. He's not even 21 years old yet. So I think that these kids that are coming out of college now are so ready for the next level. They've got so much tournament experience and so much knowledge of the game that it's just going to be a new wave every year coming. It's getting harder and harder to stay out there. I mean, you think back to guys like Ray Floyd and some of these guys back in the day who, grew up with a stick and a ball. That's all they had, I mean, and they ended up being professional golfers. And unorthodox swings, although not going to be longevity there more than likely, but, really you can learn how to play this golf game and get to where you can play pretty good just by feel, and that amazes me. Not so much anymore, but back in the day, I believe that was a possibility, and I'm sure it could happen today, but there's so much social media and so much internet. You can learn things if you can't afford lessons and, trial and error. You can get there. That's pretty cool. Speaks volumes.
we got Claycomb trying to qualify for the U.S. Amateur. Good luck to him. They're on the course right now. Dad's on his bag. That's good. And then what else we got going on in golf? Mary Joyner in the news. What's up?
Yeah, so yesterday we had 3 lady tops named to the Women's Golf Collegiate Association All-American Scholar List. So that's reserved for players that have a cumulative GPA over 3.5 of a sophomore standing academically. So we had Lizzie Loy, Megan Clark, and Mary Joyner all make the list. So there was less than 1,000 in the country that were named to the list. So pretty good honor on the academic side. So they're really taking care of it on the course and in the classroom.
They really do, Coach, and I want to attribute some of that to your leadership ability. And let's just be honest. And that you demand excellence, and these girls are very smart and intelligent. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're a great leader, Coach, and I can tell you that for a fact. Real quick golf tip today. Let's talk a little bit about putting, because everybody kind of lines up different, but there's a few different ways that are just solid. What does Adam Gary do?
Yeah, so I really categorize players into two different types of putters. Some people are more analytical and maybe more linear, and they like to line things up and use a lot of geometry, and some are more feel, art kind of based. It just depends on whether you're more left side brain, right side brain, but I think that, you can find out with some tests and some different things, but not to get too involved. A linear person is going to use a line on the ball, and they're going to really pick out a spot, a couple out or 2 inches outside the hole kind of thing to aim at. More of a non-linear player, they're gonna more look at where the ball's going into the hole. If it's a clock, then it's like they're going in at 6 o'clock would be a straight putt, or 7 o'clock would be kind of the side. So they're more visualizing the line and just trying to roll it on that line.
Wow.
There's really good putters on both sides of that, so it's not like there's really one right answer. So if a line on the ball is your thing, that's great, and if it's not, then don't feel like you have to do it. But if you do the line on the ball, then you just really have to make sure that it's right. I see so many people that struggle putting the ball down with a line on it correctly and then having to back off and then get over it, not feeling comfortable, and that kind of causes some trouble too. So I don't know. I think do a little test and just see which one you are and commit to it, but then don't feel like you have to fall into one category.
Wow, man, you always blow my mind. So I mean, it just amazes me that was. And I'm a liner. I line it up with I'll look for the apex, and I line it up towards it, and I just go on speed and feel after that. So I guess I'm linear.
Yep, and my dad's linear, but I'm non-linear. I can't use the line on the ball. It really messes with me. So
really, man, that is amazing. Those are things you just don't think about. Golly. Well, I'm glad you use the Line X hotline every Tuesday, and you can hear him. Go back and download many golf tips free. I mean, absolutely free right here on the Sports Web at ESPN Radio 102.7. We're going to wrap it up. Got the Major League All-Star Game coming up here on ESPN 102.7, Adam.
Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be fun. It's always that time of year. Like I said, summer's flying by. I can't believe that the All-Star break's already on us.
Crazy. It is crazy. And I tell you, the golf, we still got plenty of golf left. That's the great thing about Southern Kentucky. You play all the way up till September, October, November, maybe even December a little bit. Adam Gary on the Green, brought to you by BG Fireplace and Grill. Thanks, brother.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned for the MLB All-Star Game, ESPN 102.7. This has been the Sports Web.